Hey everyone, it's Megan from Gingerbread Mama. Today I am talking about breastfeeding and exclusively pumping. So, you have a baby. Congratulations. And now you find yourself elbows deep in poopy diapers and leaky boobs, and you don't remember the last time you brushed your hair or changed out of a tank top that folds down so that you can pull your boob out for your kid at a moment's notice. Your house is a wreck. You don't remember the last time that you actually got a chance to clean without a screaming baby in your face. Your house is now taken over by baby toys and stuffed animals and basically everything baby. So then comes the debate. Do I breastfeed? Do I bottle feed? Breastfeeding hurts, and it's kind of embarrassing sometimes to do it in public and people stare. So then you decide to bottle feed, but you want to give your baby the breast milk anyway. So you pump, and then you find that that cycle happens where you breastfeed and you pump, and then your baby is suddenly hungry again, so you have to give them pumped milk, which means the next time you are full, you need to pump again, and it becomes the cycle where suddenly you're pumping everything and you can't actually get milk from here for your baby. So what do? Do you give up, or do you just continue to just pump it all? My choice was to pump it all for a lot of reasons. For one, formula is freaking expensive. And if you don't get help from WIC or medical assistance, from WIC or cash assistance or food stamps, you're not going to be able to afford it. It is expensive. And that was one of the main reasons why I was really hell-bent on being able to breastfeed my baby for as long as possible. I have nothing against formula. Both of my boys were formula fed. But my daughter, I wanted to be able to do things differently. I felt like maybe this time I could do it. And I felt like if I couldn't, that I was kind of a failure. And I know a lot of moms go through that. So what do? You hook yourself to that pump, and you basically kiss the next year of your life, or however long it is that you plan to pump for, goodbye, because you are tethered to that thing. And I know that sounds like gloom and doom, but it is not, because you're doing something great for your child. You need to recognize that you're doing something great for your child and continue to remind yourself of that, because let me tell you, exclusively pumping is not easy, and anyone that tries to tell you that you are taking the easy way out is a liar. They have never been through it themselves, or else they would know that that is not the easy way out. It is hard. You are attached to a machine for at least 15 to 20 minutes every 2 or 3 hours, and by that I mean every 2 or 3 hours. Even once the baby starts sleeping through the night, you are getting up to pump. You are stopping everything you're doing and not committing to certain things because you have to have a chance to get to that pump every 2 to 3 hours. And if you don't, your supply diminishes and suddenly you're panicking. There are bars out there that you can buy. There are bars that you can make. Cookies, shakes, all sorts of things that can help you with your supply. Fenugreek. I tried everything. And luckily, thankfully, I found what worked for me and was able to pump for her for a full year. And quite honestly, from the beginning, at first I had way too much. She was a preemie, so I had way too much, and I was so excited. It's like, yes, this time I'm going to be able to do it. And as she started to eat more and started using up that supply, I started to panic, because then I'm like, now what do? Now I don't have enough. And because of that stress, and I was devoting all of my time to the baby, so I wasn't taking care of myself as well, wasn't eating as much. It is a full-time job to be a pumping mom or a breastfeeding mom, because you have to make sure that you are taking care of yourself. You have to make sure you're drinking enough water, or else you're not going to have milk. You have to eat right, or you're not going to have milk. You have to make sure that you're clean so that you're not giving your baby antibacteria. It is hard, especially if you've got a spouse that works or is not able to be there with you and you don't really have anyone to help you. It's really hard, and it can be really lonely because you have to say no to a lot of things to be able to pump, unless you are comfortable excusing yourself from a play group or pumping in a bathroom. I've done it. There were a few times that we went places and I had to make sure before we went whether or not they had a plug that I'd be able to use and a room that I'd be able to use, because otherwise then I had to take my hand pump and do it in the bathroom. There were a lot of times that we didn't go places, or I had to schedule in times to be able to pump. And that's hard. Long trips, you're pumping in the car. And it's hard. But it is so worth it. And the mess is worth it. And the pain is worth it, because it is painful. You would not believe. And you get to a place where it becomes part of your routine. And no one around you accepts it, but you have accepted it. So it is part of your routine, and you pump for your baby, and your baby gets excited when they get older and they start hearing that pump, because they know that breakfast is coming or lunch is coming. And if you are working and pumping, I commend you, because my full exclusive pumping journey, there's no way that I would have been able to work on top of that. Pumping was my job for that first year. I was taking classes online, and so I was either studying or pumping all the time. I felt like I literally had no time to think or eat or anything, and I had to force myself to be able to eat. I had to force myself to make sure I was drinking enough water, limiting my caffeine, all of these things that affect your supply. And I've had friends who I have tried really, really hard to encourage them to follow my journey to be able to be successful. Some of them have had success through my advice. Others have just gone their own path, and that's okay. If you decide that exclusive pumping is too much, I'm not going to judge you for that. It is totally okay to do it whatever way you want to do it. And I commend you if you decide that exclusively pumping is how you're going to feed your baby, or maybe you pump all day long and at night or in the early morning you're able to breastfeed. Find whatever works for you, but know that a lot of people looked at me funny because I'd go out in public with a bottle, and it used to be that people wouldn't blink an eye in a bottle, and suddenly I found myself surrounded by people that were judgy because I had a bottle. Like, oh, I gave up. Oh, I'm formula feeding my baby. And you have to kind of defend it and say, no, this is breast milk. And then they kind of take a step back and they say, oh, well, you must not have wanted to breastfeed in public. Well, no, I didn't, and that's why this started. But your decisions as a mother on how you're going to feed your child are yours. Sometimes they include your partner, and sometimes you decide that on your own, whatever is best for your family. But do not let any other outside influence tell you what you can and can't do. If you want to breastfeed and you want to breastfeed in public, you breastfeed in public. I was scared of the judgment, scared of the looks, and so I didn't. I exclusively pumped. But I know that that is not for everyone, and some people find it way easier to just breastfeed. I had a lot of anxiety around breastfeeding because my middle guy lives 3 hours away. So that meant that I would have to make sure that she was fed, that my baby was fed before I went to go pick up my son. We meet halfway, but it's still 3 hours in a car. And what if the baby gets hungry? So I made sure that I had a bottle every time. But sometimes your life may not be as hectic as mine, and you can breastfeed on demand or make sure that you have a schedule for that. Just be sure that you are doing what is best for you and your baby and not what is best for everyone around you, because their decisions and opinions are not yours. Remember, there is no such thing as a cookie cutter life. Take care.